With the Western Conference predictions out of the way, find that video in the card in the top right, it's time to move on to the East. And while there are parts of the East that are a little more clear-cut, there's still a lot that can change between now and the playoffs. So, we're going to take a look at the playoff locks, the teams that are for sure probably maybe in the play-in, and maybe a few dark horse candidates that could try to make a run at the play-in. But before we get too far, I have a huge favor to ask. Only about 1% of you are subscribed to my channel, and it would mean a ton to me if you could hit that subscribe button. It helps me know that you guys are enjoying what I'm doing, and it also helps you stay in the loop because I'm not super consistent at releasing videos on like a day or a time. So that way you'll know when I put a new one up. Plus, we're getting close to 100 subscribers, and for only being going for about 3 months or 2 full months and a couple of days now, that's crazy to me. So if we can hit that within this 3-month time frame, that would be nuts. But we've got the half court, we've got the teams, and just like last time, I'm sorting everything into their categories. So the paint is going to be the playoff locks. The free throw line is going to be teams I could see being in the play-in or playoffs, but maybe not as concretely. The midi area out here is going to be our play-in teams, or at least our for sure play-in teams. And then the three-point line is going to be where the dark horse candidates live. So let's go ahead and start here with the Millwakee Bucks. The Bucks are currently, if I'm correct, in the 3rd seed still, but climbing up there towards the top, or at least towards the 2nd seed. I don't think they're catching Boston, but regardless, I think, yeah, they're tied for the 2nd seed right now. So pretty much regardless how the rest of the season goes, they're pretty much a lock for the playoffs. Not too surprising. The Toronto Raptors. I'm glad I waited to make this video, because we just got news today that Scotty Barnes is going to be out for some amount of time, and we don't really, all they said was indefinite, so that could be a few weeks, it could be the rest of the season, but practically for the Raptors, that's the rest of the season, so they're staying here on the sidelines. We'll move over a little bit further. The Celtics have been comfortably in the 1 seed, they're going to stay there, they're definitely a playoff lock. The Detroit Pistons join your Toronto Raptor brethren. You have been winning more, but you're probably still going to be one of the bottom 3 teams in the East. The Nets. The Nets are a weird one because they could actually potentially make the play-in. But I just don't know that it's going to happen, to be entirely honest. I'm putting them on the sideline. I could have put them as a dark horse, but because originally the Raptors were a dark horse for me. But I just don't even see that happening. Even without, we'll talk about the Hawks in a minute, but even without Trae Young, the Hawks still seem to be fine. So I'm not too concerned. Now, that brings us to the New York Knicks, who are currently a playoff lock and will pretty much stay that way. Chicago Bulls. Play-in team. Yeah. Now, don't get me wrong. I still think that the Bulls have a lot of things they need to do to not just be stuck in this play-in race purgatory. But that's at least where they are, and they're pretty solidly there just because the bottom teams in the East are real bad this year. The Cleveland Cavaliers playoff lock. They are killing it. These are the teams that are pretty much there, right? These are teams you don't really have to worry too much about. Some of the positioning may change between these guys. Celtics will stay in first, but that's what you're looking at. The Philadelphia 76ers without Joel Embiid. Play-in. I don't foresee them falling out of the play-in. They're just too much better than the rest of the teams that are down here. So yeah, they're going to be down here with the Bulls, which in a way is almost an insult, and I'm sorry. The Indiana Pacers are the last team I have as a solid lock here for the playoffs. They've been doing good. They're kind of on the up and up. The Pascal Siakam trade and his fit are kind of getting worked out still, but they've been playing really good ball lately, so not terribly concerned. The Washington Wizards are, you know what, just to really prove the point here, kind of rank them here. The Wizards are the worst. Sorry, Wizards. Yeah, sorry, Raptors. Anyway, the Charlotte Hornets. This is the team I'm going to spend my delusion on and put them in the contention. Now, Brandon Miller is also out for some extended period of time, but there's still maybe the hope that LaMelo comes back this season. There's also a lot of kind of saying that maybe he doesn't. Maybe that's intentional. Who knows? But at least the rest of this core was able to play a really close game with the 76ers and was able to make up, in a slight way, the 50-point loss they had to the Bucks. They came back out, still lost by double digits, but it was like 12. And then we're within a few points of the 76ers pretty much the entire game. So, yeah, all my delusion right there. The Hawks. Yeah, you guys get to stay in there. I mean, my hope is the Hornets will jump you, but it doesn't look like they're falling too hard, unfortunately. Sorry, Hawks fans. I mean, good for you, you're still here, but sorry, I'm like, God, I wish for your downfall right now. Anyway, then we have the kind of weird ones with the Heat and the Magic, because the Magic are the only team I have is like, yeah, they're going to be right down here at the 6th seed. They're the team that's kind of the end of the playoffs here, and that could change because the Heat, the Pacers, and the Magic are all within just like a handful of games of each other. But I think the Heat are the ones that are going to stay in the play-in. Yeah, so this is kind of the setup, but how do I have them ranked? So we're going to use this kind of bottom area to rank where I've got these guys. The Hornets obviously are going to be down here at the end because, like I said, delusion. It'll carry me so far. Anyway, the Celtics are going to be the number 1 seed. I'm not too surprised by that. That's kind of where that's going to stay. The Bucks, I think, are going to be a 3 seed. I believe in... I'm not the only one, but I think the Cavs can stick to the 2nd seed, realistically. I think there's probably a little bit more up and up, kind of upside, if you will, for the Bucks for the rest of the season as they continue to figure out Doc Rivers and what he wants to do. But I just think the Cavs are more stable. Now, playoffs may be a little different with this team, but I'm pretty comfortable with this. The 4th seed I have the New York Knicks. Not too shocking. I don't think anyone's surprised by that. Indiana Pacers at 5. Orlando Magic at 6. So these are your playoff lock teams here. I'm going to go ahead and move them over here so that oops. I'm going to go ahead and move everyone over here so that I have an easier way of parsing what the bracket ends up looking like. Yeah. So the play-in is the next question. Now, I had the Heat at 7. So actually, let's move these over here. The Heat were at 7. The 76ers are at 8. The Chicago Bulls are at 9. And then the Hawks would be at 10. And dear God, do I want to put the Hornets there? But I also know that if I put the Hornets there, they're probably not beating the Bulls, especially if Brandon Miller and LaMelo and Mark Williams continue to be out. But I do think they could give them a run for their money. So just for the sake of fun, I guess, and like I said, my personal delusion, the Hawks are not going to be there. The Hornets will. And like I said, I think this can be a game. I know the Bulls have been putting things together, and they've had some pretty impressive wins as of late. There's, like, if Brandon Miller and LaMelo come back, I think this is a very interesting game. If they don't, I probably would put money more on the Bulls. But the Bulls are just unpredictable. So, I'm sorry, my Hornets. Goodbye. Very sad. Big wow. Which means the Chicago Bulls are the winner of the 9-10. Means they're going to be playing the Cavs. I'll move them over in a second. Then the Heat and the 76ers. If Joel Embiid comes back, I think this is a different conversation. But if I'm Philly, I don't really see a need. And the Heat kind of just started getting serious. And you know that because Jimmy Butler was in a Fall Out Boy video. So, the doors are locked, guys. The 76ers are gone because Jimmy Butler is in a Fall Out Boy video. Oh, those words left my mouth. Weird cross-contamination of things I enjoy. Okay, so we have our situation for the play-in here. The Celtics Bulls, that's easy. The Bulls are going to get gone. Sorry, Bulls. The Cavs Heat, that could be really interesting. But then we have the Magic, the Bucks, the Pacers, and the Knicks. This is an interesting set of things. Like I said, the Bulls, I don't really see them doing anything. The Cavs Heat's really interesting to me, though. The Heat are such a weird one because of last year. And even with Jimmy Butler being in a Fall Out Boy video, I'm going to go ahead and drop him. I'm sorry. I think the Celtics win. They get matched up with the Cavs here. I do think the Bucks take the Magic. Sorry, Magic. I really, really want the Magic to go far, but I think if you can push a good series in the semifinals, that's in the first round, but not get swept, I think that's pretty good. Then you have the Bucks and the Knicks Pacers is interesting, and it is really fully dependent on if the Knicks get most of their players back, right? OG Anunuoby is back, if Julius Randle is back, if Jalen Brunson isn't hurt. I think he might still be out. He might have just come back. I can't remember. But yeah, if they've got those guys back, I do think Indiana is out in the first round. But who knows? This is probably the hardest of this bunch. The Heat were the most perplexing, but I think this is legitimately, from talent perspective, the most difficult one to make the pick for. And I'm sorry, Pacers, but it's the Knicks. The Knicks Bucks, though. The Bucks, I think, could do it. But like I said, if the Knicks are mostly healthy, right? I think they could do it, right? I think they could take the Bucks. A lot of that is just how weird their play has been and how weird the vibes are, and Doc being Doc. But who knows? That's a weird thing to base this on. I get that. But sorry, Bucks. It's going to be the Knicks advancing to the Eastern Conference Finals. And as good as the Cavs have been, I don't think they top the Celtics. Celtics, Knicks. Knicks are good. It's the Celtics. It's the C's. It's the team that's been in first this entire year, who has had the best record. So yeah, this is how I think things go. But let me know in the comments down below. Am I crazy? Do some of these teams deserve more of a chance? Let me know why you think that in the comments below. Anyway, thanks for sticking with me, guys. I do truly appreciate it. Look out for the next Are They Good episode coming out here in a few